The novelty of an activity is extremely important to consider because that novelty can wear off really fast. So, for example, in the district that I previously worked in, I was given access to basically everything under the sun that related to makerspaces. They wanted to test it out in the makerspace class that I had. It was a middle school elective that had a really long waiting list for students to get into because it was an elective where they just got to kind of explore a bunch of maker activities however they wanted to. Often, kids would find something to be really engaging and interesting, like physical computing or something. And about a week later, maybe a couple weeks later, they would lose all interest in it. It was fun for a limited amount of time, but once they've exhausted everything that you can do with that thing, then students would often want to move on to something else. The same thing could happen in these like interdisciplinary contexts. Students who are really interested in making music with code might be like, wow, this is really cool. They dive into it for a little bit, and then they might get bored with it. That happened with a lot of students that I worked with, where they would try it out for maybe a quarter, and then after that, they just wanted to go back to making games from scratch. So something we really need to consider when doing this is we need to do more longitudinal studies of not only like these interdisciplinary intersections, but also with like physical computing. Just because students have a lot of fun with Bebop for a lesson or two doesn't mean it's something that is worth investing in if they lose all interest in it a couple of weeks later, especially if you have an entire unit that might be a semester long or a year long that involves that particular device or whatever device. I'll end my rant there. This excerpt of the CSK8 podcast is from episode number 143, which is titled Programming Music with Sonic Pi Promotes Positive Attitudes for Beginners.